In order for you to own and build on a website, you're going to need at least a couple of things. You'll need a domain name. You'll need a tool to get or transfer files from your computer to your website and from your website to your computer. And you're going to need what is called web hosting. Web hosting is what allows individuals and organizations to make their websites accessible to others via the interweb, otherwise known as the World Wide Web. You can see that when you do a Google search here for web hosting, you're going to get over 500 million results popping back at you. So you can see there's no shortage of options to choose from. This video will help you in your search. While it is possible for you, the individual, to have your own hosting service on your own computer at your own home connected to the internet, that's not what I'm going to be talking about in this video, because 99.9% of you will be purchasing web hosting from a company that specializes in hosting websites. You know, kind of like your HostGators or DreamHost, or one of the other bazillion web hosting companies out there. Now, I'm a huge do-it-yourselfer, but hosting sites on my own computer, not so much. Now, before you purchase what you need, you should think a little bit about what you want. What is your end goal here for your website? Now, I know that there will be some changes as your site evolves, but in order for you to get started in the right direction, you should at least have a bit of a plan laid out first. For example, ask yourself these questions and grab your pen and paper and write them down. What is my budget for getting things started? How long will that budget last without any income? Will I need a bunch of traffic just to break even? Will I sell things? And if so, what can I sell? Digital goods, physical goods, or both? Will you be hosting large file downloads? Will you have videos on your site? Will I need a secure connection in order to accept credit cards? These are just some of the questions you should write down and refer back to as you do the research for the hosting service you're looking for. Now, I want to first off point out a good resource to go to and a bookmark, and that's our buddies over at Wikipedia. Just do a search there for web hosting service and you'll end up over here. And if we scroll down a tad bit, and under types of hosting, these guys give a great demonstration of each type of possible web hosting you would be interested in. From the free that I would highly recommend not getting into, to the shared, which is the most popular and a great way to start things out. Next up would be the reseller web hosting, virtual dedicated server, or the VPS, virtual private server, dedicated hosting, and they give you a bit of a comparison between each of these. And this kind of starts off with the least expensive, that being free, and goes up to the most expensive, which is the co-location. Now, cloud hosting is kind of sort of one of the newer guys, and this is ideal for a lot of reasons, but it has a couple of drawbacks that may be deal breakers for you. So by all means, check into these as possible options. Now, one of the more popular services out there is called HostGator. I use HostGator. Actually, I use 4 different web hosting services, but that's information for a different video. But for the time being, I wanted to point out right here, big bold letters, unlimited. Don't let this be the carrot that brings you into buying their particular service. Nothing against HostGator, because if we check out another popular service, one that I use, they use that word quite a bit too. Unlimited disk space, unlimited bandwidth, unlimited database. Well, the thing is, though, is that unlimited is not so unlimited. Whenever your site reaches a certain amount of resources being used or bandwidth being used, your site is going to get shut down, plain and simple. So don't let this be the only thing that draws you into buying their service. I don't want to say anything bad about HostGator or any of the other hosting services out there, because they all do that. I just want to bring it to your attention that unlimited does not mean unlimited. Now, one thing too you want to know is that even though you've been with a particular service for a long time, whether it's several months or several years, if you come to the point where you've either outgrown that particular service or you had several instances where you're not liking their customer support, don't think that you're chained down to that service just because they're watching your websites. No, you can always transfer to another one. Just as they say here at D9, and this is one of the things that I use them for, to actually transfer my reseller account from HostGator. I've got an individual hatchling plan with them now, but I had a reseller account with them, and I had like 25, 26 different sites hosted on that reseller account. I moved them all over to D9. And they did it all for me. So it was like nothing that I had to do except for give them some names and some emails, and bing, bang, boom, they did all the heavy lifting for me. And it was totally free. So just know that you're not chained down to a particular service if you find that their support or whatever reason you feel you should move, go ahead and move. Now, Rackspace has been around for quite a while, and one of their specialties is that cloud server that I was referring to earlier. The major plus to this is that the traffic spikes that you might encounter and that would get your site shut down on a D9 or a HostGator or a DreamHost or Bluehost, on a cloud server, not so much, because the cloud server uses the resources of many different servers, whereas other servers, the VPSs or the dedicated or the shared, they're using one server. And whether it's dedicated or shared, whenever your website hits that particular spike, boom, you're shut down. These guys, whenever you hit that particular spike, they share those resources out over other servers. So you never really experience a spike. You never get shut down as a result of using excessive resources. The drawback to a cloud type server is that they are being shared over several different servers. So if privacy is a big issue to you in that respect, I mean, they say that everything's secure, but comparing that to a dedicated server, which is on one physical location, and on a cloud server, it's over the course of several different physical locations. If that's the deal breaker for you, well, you should consider that in deciding on if you're going to move everything to the cloud or not. A couple of tools I want to mention here. Uptime Robot at uptimerobot.com. Totally free, and this is a service that will monitor and alert you when your site or sites are down. They'll send you an email or a text message, and if it happens enough times, you might want to consider that as a way of saying bye-bye HostGator or bye-bye DreamHost. Another neat tool is if you come across a site that loads super fast and you visit it regularly and you never see that it's down and you want to see who their hosting service is, this is the site you want to check out, whoishostingthis.com. Just put in their website here, and it'll give you all those details. Hopefully this video will answer a lot of those questions that you wrote down earlier in helping you determine which hosting service or which hosting package and service is best for you. That's going to bring us to the end of this video on web hosting. Thank you very much for watching, and you have a great day. There are tons of FTP programs, both free and premium, or otherwise known as paid programs. In the category of free FTP client programs, there's one that stands out and above the crowd. It's called FileZilla. This video is going to cover the downloading and basic installation of FileZilla. Now, technically, FileZilla is a donationware type of software, meaning you can use it for free all you want, but the creators would very much like for you to donate some money to them if you like using the program. Now, not only is this great karma for you, but it also helps provide money for future updates and support. So without further ado, let's head on over to the FileZilla website to get our software. And we're looking for FileZilla-project.org. And you're going to end up at a page like this, and you've got a couple of options here, well, a couple of major options. That's the client or the server. Now, when talking about File Transfer Protocol, or FTP, there are two ends of the transfer process. The server end, where the files are on the internet, and the client end, where the files are on our computer. So most all of us will only need the client portion of the FileZilla software. So we first off want to just check out the client. So we want to click on that. And by the way, you may want to bookmark this page here. That way you can refer back to this to cover anything that I may not cover or skim over in this video. Well, let's go ahead and head over to the client. As you saw there, it covers all platforms. Now we want to decide on which platform we have, and of course that's something that you'll have to answer for yourself. My operating system is Windows, and if something says recommended, that's the one you probably want to go with, more times than not anyway. Now if you're using a Macintosh operating system, then you've got these options to choose from here. But or Linux, don't want to leave you guys out of the picture, but I'm going to go with this guy here because that's the one that's recommended. Go ahead and click on that and get their advertising stuff out of the way. Now I've got it set up on my system to download all of my downloads to my downloads directory on my computer. You may have yours set up some other way, but that's just how mine is set up. The executable file here has a parentheses and the 1 there because I've already got this particular file in my system right here, along with a lot of other old ones. Yeah, I've been using this for a while. So let's go ahead and skip this because I've already got it downloaded right here, but you get the idea on downloading it anyway. I'm going to go ahead and cancel that out. Let's head on over to my downloads folder. Okay, so here's my downloads. Come on down here to this guy here, and I'm going to right click, and I'm going to run as administrator. this guy pops up, and you may get a different type of message depending upon, your operating system. I'm using Windows 7. Click on yes, and then I get this guy to pop up. Click on agree. Of course, you want to read all this fancy stuff first, but click on agree. And anyone who uses this computer, that's totally up to you, however you want to do this. Click on next. And I just go with the default settings. That's always fine for me. Now let's go ahead and throw a desktop icon on there. As you can see, as we hover over these, it gives you a little description over here. So if you're not sure about it, just untick it. But this all looks good to me. And click on next. And unless you know what you're doing, I would leave it as far as the default location of the destination folder. Click on next and click on next, and it's installing away. And let's go ahead and start that guy. And here we are. That's how simple it is to download and install your FileZilla FTP software. Now, in closing, I want to say that when there is an update to FileZilla, this is one of the cool things I like about this, besides the fact you can't beat the price, is that when you open up your client software and there is a new version of FileZilla, you're going to be given the option to update instantly, or you can manually update later. Totally up to you. I just do the instant because it takes less than a minute and I'm back to work with an updated program. Simple assignment. That is the end of this video on downloading and installing the FileZilla FTP software. Thanks for watching. You have a great day.